Thank you, everyone. I have a question for you. What are the biggest problems in agriculture? I'm sure there are many problems running through your minds right now. And whilst I was researching the effects of globalisation on the egg processing industry, there were many directions that I could have taken my study. But no matter which path I went down, I kept coming to the same answer. And I'm sure this answer has led to many of the answers to the problems that you're thinking about at this moment in time. So my focus of my study became about change. What changes are occurring around the world? What are the consumers thinking? And what can we do about it? And whilst I travelled to many places such as Canada, Europe, Japan, most of my answers came from America. I love this tagline, the incredible edible egg. It's from the American Egg Board. It's a great message and 4 simple words. Now, my study was by no means simple, but I do hope in the next 12 minutes that my message is simple, inspiring, and gives you all food for thought, no matter what part of agriculture that you are in. There have been so many incredible opportunities that have come my way that I would have never have imagined if it wasn't for Nuffield. So now at this point, I'd like to thank the Nuffield Farming Scholarship Trust for giving us all these incredible opportunities. And I'd like to thank the British Egg Marketing Board Research and Education Trust for having confidence in awarding me my scholarship fund. And without doubt, I'd like to thank my family, of which none of this would have been possible without their support, their guidance, and their encouragement. So my concern for the UK egg industry is that globalisation means that more and more imports could be heading into the UK market. And it's not surprising when you learn around 1/4 of all shell egg that is produced around Europe is for the egg processing market. So globalisation is always going to threaten any industry. The importance for us all is to understand how it's going to affect our industry. And most importantly, how is it going to affect your business? And once you understand globalisation and analyse it, actions can be implemented to work alongside globalisation rather than work against it. So is globalisation our friend or foe? I think it's both. Should we be worrying about imports or getting excited about exports? But one thing for certain with globalisation is that change is a constant. During the last 5 to 10 years, there have been many changing trends. We've seen different behaviours around the world with similar underlying trends that have consequences as well as benefits. The UK has been focusing on how to engineer products to either A, make them cheaper, or B, to meet the more healthier demands of the food manufacturer. An example of this being the low-fat quiche, because some or all of the yolk is removed from the recipe. And it can end up just being a blend of whole egg or a blend of egg white and water. Now, this not only reduces the cost for the recipe, but it also means that a food manufacturer and a retailer can advertise the product as low fat. Europe has done a similar sort of thing. However, at the same time, Europe has also focused on the growth of the food service market and exports, in particular to Japan. And America has focused on all these areas, but they've also focused on consumer trends by adding value to egg products. And the result, an increase in the consumption of egg products, which is all brilliant news. It's good news for the egg producer, it's good news for the egg packer, and it's very good news for the egg processor. But there is some bad news in all of this. These type of changing trends do have consequences. By engineering cost out, the egg as a whole has been devalued to some degree. Selling lots of egg white is great, but what are we going to do with all the yolk? So these changing trends are causing us problems, yet they are trends that are occurring around the world. And these trends started in America a few years ago, but they are only just coming to Europe now. This is why we must keep abreast of global activity. This is why globalisation is so important to us all. And this is why it's important to understand and embrace change. I remember being at the International Egg Conference a few years ago in Washington, DC, and the marketing director at McDonald's came to talk to us all about the future. She said that the breakfast market would grow dramatically and that breakfast products would be sold in places we would never imagine. Breakfast would actually be eaten later in the morning, and it could even replace lunch. And why was this? Well, as we all know, people are getting much more busier with their lifestyles. People want ease and convenience, more than ever than before. And people will eat on the run for breakfast and less at home. This trend is called casual dining. Take a look at the picture on the left. It's Subway. They not only have egg on their breakfast menus as sandwiches, but they've also created a menu for the growth. Are you moving my slides? Sorry, everybody, I'm not touching this, but it seems to be moving on its own, eh? We'll just go back one little bit. Has anybody got the mobile phone on that's interfering with it? So we are seeing the growth of egg sales with Subway. And next to it is the Egg White Delight from McDonald's, and this is now becoming a classic on the McDonald's menu. Another example of great innovation, but an example of understanding the consumer trends. The caption from Panera, the new Egg White Breakfast Power Sandwich. Research recently showed that when consumers read the word healthy, they think it means tasteless. And that's why the Panera have marketed the new breakfast product as the new Egg White Breakfast Power Sandwich. An example of understanding the consumer's mind and the changing trends and demands for healthier foods. And who would have imagined getting eggs on a breakfast menu at Dunkin' Donuts? Even Kellogg's have now launched a new frozen egg-based sandwich, so it won't be long before that's on sale here in the UK. Things move very, very quickly. This product is actually being launched at a trade show at this particular moment in time. It's from a company called The Two Chicks. It's launched a new egg product called Chirps. The new egg white snack in 3 different flavours. I've yet to try these, but they certainly do sound interesting. So whilst we've seen some good product ideas, we must also not forget that egg can go into many other industries than the food industry. Here we have an egg white facial cleanser launched in Asia, and due to its popularity, you can now buy it all over the world for £19 a bottle. And just launched here in the UK from the health food store Holland & Barrett, an egg membrane vitamin tablet, packed full of nutrients such as elastin, collagen, and retailing at £20 a bottle. So some great, fantastic product innovations. So the results of my travels have given me many solutions, but we do need to change. We need to improve technology and embrace innovation. We need new product creations to be ahead of consumer trends. And we can enter so many different markets other than the food industry, such as pharmaceutical and the beauty industry. And casual dining is exploding, and eggs play a huge part. Casual dining has been the topics of many retailers' annual conferences just in these last few weeks. And it's not surprising when you realise the growth in America is at 45% from 2007. That means 1 out of 10 homes have casual dining as part of their lifestyle. And this trend has now started here in the UK. So we must be aware of other trends that are happening, because there are some weaknesses. And for some of you in this room, this will be good news, because pea protein is exploding all over the world, and it's a really big threat to our industry. So whilst we must recognise our strengths, we must always be aware of our weaknesses. My conclusions of my study, and really I'm not using the clicker, it's doing it all on its own. I hope it doesn't spoil the end, is that we've got a very, very bright future. We need to collaborate and communicate, and most importantly, we need to innovate. But most importantly, we must think differently in order to change. So after my study, a lot of people said to me, you must be relieved that it's over. But as most people have already said in these last 2 days, it does feel like it's just begun. So I have a new list to study. New product development that aligns with consumer trends for the future. How can we transform egg into new innovative ingredients for clinical research? And analyse extraction and refining egg proteins and lipids for other use in pharmaceutical and biotech applications. We need to understand the power of yolk. Yolk, when used in standard lotions when treating burns, can heal the skin 5 times faster than the standard lotions. This is currently being researched in a hospital in London, which I find absolutely incredible. And mental health. Research in Canada is developing a drug for people with anxiety and depression and other mental disorders that contains extract of egg. This has proven to give the same results as conventional medicine, but with no side effects, which is absolutely incredible, especially when you consider that 350 million people across the globe suffer from mental illness. So there are huge opportunities. My final message to the egg processors: build strong relationships throughout the whole supply chain towards a long future and think long term instead of short term. To the egg producer, align yourselves with egg processors and start building relationships and trade differently for the future. And to the food industry, there is so much more that the egg has to offer. Instead of thinking how can we sell more egg white and what will we do with the yolk, why not ask how we can extract the fat out of the whole egg instead of selling the egg white? Or better still, why not market the fact that it's the yolk that has all the nutrition, so there's no need to remove the yolk at all from a health point of view? We just need to start to think differently. Just one more thing. We must understand what change means to us all. Some people don't like change, but start with the simple things. If you change the way you look at things, things you look at will eventually start to change. And one of my favourite quotes to the egg industry is from Socrates. The secret to change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building on the new. And finally, I had to write this speech in order to present it last month. And after I did, I also heard the quote being used at the start of a Waitrose conference by their managing director, Mark Price. So I knew I was on the right track. And it's a quote from Confucius: "May you live in interesting times." When faced with challenging times, we can either face it as a difficult situation or we can face it as an interesting situation. When something becomes interesting, we approach it in a much more different way. We become intrigued, we become motivated, and we start to think differently to seek solutions. But I'd like to finish off this quote because, of course, it's what every single one of us in this room is all about. So, ladies and gentlemen, may you all live in interesting times by leading positive change in agriculture, the food system, but most importantly, ourselves. Thank you.